Good evening, everybody. This is Lou Rock. I'm just doing a quick review on the black community as a whole. My topic today is the five ethnic parasite. I emphasize in the word parasite because parasite, what does it does? It suck on people's blood and host, and it's a bacteria that suck on other organism to live. So there are five ethnic group parasite in the black community. Now, I know a lot of you gonna say, "Oh, this guy's going crazy. Why he's talking about race? Why are you talking about ethnic group?" I say, "Well, you don't live in a perfect world, because black people have been catching hell for the past 600 years in this country. Some people might say 1,000 years, but I'll say 600 just to be precise. For the past 600 years, we've been catching hell in this country, in the Caribbean also. But since I'm from the Caribbean, so I have a close connection with America. And I'm a Haitian descent, so I have a very close connection with America, historically speaking. Now let's move forward. Now, there have been a lot of news about Trump being elected. I say he was not elected, he was selected. Now he's our new president. We as black people need to focus our energy on ourselves, on our community, on our children and our families. Forget about other people, forget about what's going on in the blogs, forget about what's going on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, and what's going on in the church. Just forget about what's going on in the church, because the church have gone way crazy right now nowadays. And we're not supposed to be in church to start with, but that's a whole different topic and a whole different subject. But my focus is about the five ethnic parasite. There's six of them, but there's five of them that's very dominant in the black community. Now, the number one ethnic group that they have been parasite across the world, they are the so-called Jews. Now, I'm not a anti-Semitic. Those of you that's going to attack me say, "Oh, you're anti-Semitic, you're a fool, you're an idiot, you're oxymoron, you're a pendejo, you're el tupido." Okay, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm for truth, and truth shall be spoken. Now, that being said, number two is the Chinese. Now, I don't hate the Chinese. Don't think that I hate Chinese people. That's not where I'm coming from. This is economics. We're talking about economics. You need to put your emotional side and focus what I'm saying. It's not about hating Chinese people. There are a billion Chinese people in China, and there are hundreds of millions around the world. So especially in Africa and the Caribbean, there's a lot of Chinese people around, and a lot of Chinese here. Now, those people, when they come to our community, we welcome them. But they don't welcome us in their community. That's what I'm talking about. Now, let's go to the list. Let me finish the list, and I'll go back to my subject again. Now, the number three is the Korean. Now, and number four is the East Indian, and number five is the white Arabs. Because the reason why I say white Arabs, because the Arab, they're very diverse color with their ethnicities. You have dark-skinned Arabs, you got brown-skinned Arabs, you have white-skinned Arabs. I am referring to mostly the white-skinned Arabs, the white devils. Those Arabs that intermarried with the so-called white man. I'm referring to those Arabs. Now, let's keep things in perspective. Now, let's go back to my top. Number one is the so-called Jews. The Jews, they came from Khazar, Asia Minor. If you don't know your geography, go back and study. Not Europe. I didn't say Europe. I didn't say Asia. I didn't say South America. I didn't say Central America. I didn't say Africa. I didn't say Australia. I say Asia Minor, okay, which is Russia, which is Turkey. Asia Minor, they came from Khazar. They're called the 30th tribe. They're not from Jacob bloodline. They not come from Judah. They not come from Judah. We came from Judah. The black Americans are from Judah tribe. Let's keep that shit real. Let's keep that in perspective. We are the true Israelite. Those so-called Jews, they are bloodsuckers. They run the banking system, they run the music system, and they even run the politics. Okay? They run politics in America. They pretty much run the American government with the international bankers, those Zionist Jews, those bloodsuckers. Now, secondly, let's go back to the Chinese. Now, China is a communist country. See, that's why America don't tell you. They like to play double standard. Like they treat Cuba like shit, but they treat like China as like their best friend. They're both communist countries. You see, they see the hypocrisy where I'm going with that? You see the hypocrisy? They treat Cuba like shit, but they do business with China. Go figure. Now, those people, when they come to the black neighborhood, they establish themselves because in the white neighborhood, they were not welcome. Chinese people were not welcome and Japanese people were not welcome in the white neighborhood. But we sheltered them. They came to our neighborhood, they established themselves, especially the Chinese. I'm not even going to talk about the Japanese. I'm going to focus on the Chinese. When they come to our neighborhood, they give us bad customer service. They give us bad food, outdated food, and we eat that crap. And that we should punch ourselves in our face. We eat that disgusting shit. Excuse my language, but we eat that crap, which is detrimental to our health. We eat that shit. But they don't like us. They don't welcome us in their community. And when they took that money out of our community, they sent it to China. Okay? We need to get rid of those Chinese. I'm not saying all Chinese people are like that, but most of them are like that. When they're doing business with black people, that's what they do. Because we allowed it to happen. We allowed them to come in and set up shop in our neighborhood. We should get rid of them ASAP. Now, the third group I'm going to refer to is the Korean. I don't care if they come from South Korea or North Korea. It doesn't matter. The Korean, they have been in the black community for decades now. Now, they run the hair industry. Let's keep that in perspective. The hair industry is about $20 billion or $25 billion annually. And you say, wow, that's a lot of money. Who's making that kind of money? Who's making that money? Mostly Chinese, Korean, and East Indian. They are the one that making the lion's share of that profit. Black people barely get 1% of that profit. We need to get rid of those Korean in our community. That's the third ethnic group, the third parasite group I'm referring to. Now, the fourth one is the East Indian. Even though they are classified as black in America, but they treat black people like shit across the world, especially here in America, the Caribbean, and Africa. Those East Indian, the bloodsuckers too. They come to our neighborhood and they establish themselves. They open businesses in our neighborhood, and they took that money out of our neighborhood. They go to the whiteys. They go to the white middle class. They buy houses there, and they move in with. They send the money back to India. And now, if you try to do business with them as a black business person, they are not going to do business with you. They're going to say, oh, well, we came from different culture, blah, blah, blah. They're going to give you a whole bunch of shenanigans why they don't want to do business with you. But you have to understand, hey, it's a group economics. They're going to do it. We have to practice group economics. Those East Indians are the fourth one in my group because I have East Indian friend when I was in high school. I'm not saying it's a billion of them in the continent in India, and you have maybe 100 million of them around the world. So, because of the British Empire, they was bringing them for labor, mostly for merchant and labor. So for trades, the British Empire used them a lot. So they brought them to the Caribbean, they brought them to America, some of them, not a lot, but mostly the Caribbean and Africa, especially Africa. Now, a lot of them, they are intermarried with African culture. Some of them, they keep their Hindu, they're Sikh. That's another religious group they embark to, Pakistanis. But they're all Indian. But they don't like black people for the most part. I'm not saying all East Indian people don't like black people. I can say that because there's a billion of them. So I'll say most of them, especially when it comes to business. They don't do business with black people primarily because they'll say it's just cultural differences, which is baloney. Or they'll say, well, we're not business-minded people. They rather do business with the white man. That being said, we need to get rid of those people ASAP out of our community. Now, number 5 He's the so-called Arabs. The Arabs, the Arabs, the Arabs. I cannot emphasize. If you study history, you know black people have a so long history with the Arabs, especially the white Arabs. I'm not talking about the black Arabs. I'm talking about the white one. Those who intermarry with the upper middle class aristocrat white people. I'm referring to those Arabs because you have to study history. I'm not talking about those average Arabs. No, they are good people. But those are upper class Arabs from Qatar, Kuwait, Dubai, Saudi Arabia. Those white Arabs, they're bloodsuckers. Okay? They have a lot of businesses here because the American government permit them to come here and start businesses here. So is the Korean, the Chinese, the East Indian. They get permission from the American government. Let's keep that in perspective. Okay, black people, let's keep that in perspective. Now, those Arabs, when the French, the English came to North Africa, the Portuguese came to North Africa, when they were looking for gold, primarily gold and diamond, but mostly gold in North Africa and throughout Africa, but mostly gold. They brought their religion, which was not really their religion. Islam is an African religion. Let's keep that in perspective. Historically speaking, it's the African religion, but they were converted into Islam and they took some rule out of Islam, make it more to their own. So they don't like black people because a lot of people who study about the North African trade. Hundreds of millions of Africans were castrated, killed during that trade. And those white Arabs, they are very racist. They are very prejudiced towards black people. Okay? They will laugh with you, but they will break bread with you. But when it comes to business, they don't like doing business with black people. They think we're ignorant, we're stupid. For the most part, we're all ignorant because we don't study, we don't do research. And to that effect, that kind of backfire on us. We don't study history. We don't study economics. We don't study politics, political science. We don't study those subjects. We don't study those things. And then it backfire on us as a people. I'm not saying black people don't study political science. I'm saying on average, even the white people don't study either. Political science, historically speaking, we don't study religion. We don't study, what's the other one? Agriculture, chemistry. We don't study those subjects. And those subjects, we need them in our community to grow our community. Now, the Arabs, like I told you before, they have a long history with the black community. From the slave trade, some of them even intermarried with the black woman, not really by force, just like the white men did by force. Rape the black woman and give you those mulatto children, and which they call Hispanic these days or Latino. But you have to study history to know those things. You cannot just read a newspaper. No, you have to really do research on those things. And black people need to get rid of those 5 ethnic groups I mentioned in this video. Number 1, the so-called Jews. I know a lot of people do business with Jewish people. Hey, listen, we can create our own economic power by ourselves. We don't need them. We don't need these people to survive. They need us. We don't need the Chinese. We don't need the East Indian. We don't need the Korean. We don't need the Arabs. They need us, okay? We don't need them to survive. We've been doing this for thousand upon thousand upon thousand upon thousand upon. We built dynasties, okay, with none of these motherfuckers. None of these motherfuckers were not around when we built those dynasties in Egypt, in Kemet. They were not around, okay? They were not around. And we built those dynasties that last thousands of years. So that is a testament in our knowledge and who we are as a people. We need to go back to the basics and build an empire, build our community. Stop looking for the white man to come as your savior. He's not going to save you. He already showed you that he's not coming to save you. Just like Donald Trump said, what do you got to lose, black people? What do you have to lose, black people? Donald Trump said it to you. What do you have to lose, black people? The Democrat has screwed you over with no grease. The Democrat have screwed you over with no grease. The Republicans, they have screwed you over too with no grease. You need to get rid of those politicians and get rid of those religions at your freaking head. None of them work for you. They work against you. Religion primarily, number one. Number two is politics. Number three is education. The white man education is shitty. It's bullshit. It's not really education. It's doo-doo. It's not good for your mind. It's not even good for your spirits. Number one, it's not good for your spirit. It's not good for your mind. It's not even good for your body. The white man knowledge is bullshit. That's why you have to study. You have to research on your own history to know who you really are. We are the children of Israel. We are the true children of Israel. We came from the tribe of Judah. Let's keep that in perspective. We're not so-called Negroes, Afro-American, African-American, which is two continents, by the way. Africa is a continent. America is a continent. Okay, you have North America, South America, Central America, and South America. South America starts from Brazil to Chile. And Mexico is Central America. Mexico, Panama, Nicaragua, Ecuador, those are South America, and the Caribbean too. That's part of Central America. In Africa, you have North Africa, Central Africa, you have South Africa. So those two continents, you cannot call yourself African American. You look like an oxymoron when you do that. People laugh at you. They may not laugh in your face, but they laugh behind your back, especially the Europeans and other ethnic groups. A Japanese will laugh at you like, Negro, you're not freaking African. Why you call yourself African? African don't recognize you as African. And I hang out with a lot of Africans. They don't like you. They don't like when you call yourself African because Africa is a broad term. America is a broad terminology. So you have to be very precise when you speak upon those things. You have to do exactly what you're talking about. You can't just call yourself African because Africa have 52 countries, okay? 52 countries Africa is made of. Which country are you from? You don't know where you're from. So why you keep calling yourself African? You are not African. You are Israelite from Jerusalem. Those so-called Jews in Israel, those are Zionists. Jews, they took this place by force. You see, that's why they have no peace over there. Because we have to go back and conquer that land. God said until the true children of Israel come back to that land, that's when they will have peace. Those Zionist Jews in Israel, they will never have peace. Never have peace. Like Henry Kissinger, I'm quoting him. I'm quoting Henry Kissinger. He was a Secretary of State and he was an Attorney General under Ford, Gerald Ford, our president. Henry Kissinger said in 10 years, there will no longer be an Israel. Okay? He said it. He's an insider. He's a skull and bones. Henry Kissinger said it in 10 years, there will no be an Israel. There will no longer be an Israel in 10 years from now. So he knows what's coming to Israel. Israel is going to be destroyed. The so-called Israel, which is still the Star of David from, is going to be destroyed. Now, black people, we need to get back to our P's and Q's and start investing our energy in our community. And that's how we're going to combat this white supremacy. And this is all I got to say. One love. Peace. Bye.